Yeah, Mark, I've talked to several pastors that have expressed sadness, but they want people to think in regards to Graham's, they want them to reflect on his life of service.
He comes to Christ. I know many like that tonight.
Billy Graham, a household name among Christians all over the world. Graham got his start as the first full-time speaker at Youth for Christ. Dr. Dan DeWitt from Cedarville University says Graham soon became a figurehead for Christianity.
And that's really how Billy Graham became so famous, was speaking at those large youth rallies that spilled over from North America into Western Europe as well, and then literally traveled around the world with Youth for Christ.
Graham touched millions of lives, among them Associate Pastor Mark Goings from New Spring Church in Springboro. Pastor Goings was part of a crusade led by Graham back in 1999.
There was just that expectation of, here's a man who has lived it, his whole life spoke for him, and you wanted to hear what he had to say.
Dr. DeWitt says Graham stands alongside some of the greats.
Now, Billy Graham was very different than C.S. Lewis, but in a very similar vein. He had a simple message. He wasn't concerned with necessarily who was on the platform with him.
But Graham did stand on some very important platforms with important people, like 12 presidents. And for Pastor Shannon Wooten, he believes Graham lived his life with the utmost integrity.
Put a system together to where he made sure he was accountable. He was never left alone when he traveled. He had always someone with him to give account of his time and what he was doing. And I believe it's because he wanted to practice what he preached.
Goins says he's happy that Graham could finally reunite with his wife and his father.
He is extremely happy, no doubt about it. It's so important to preach it, but also live it, and he did.
NBC News estimates that Graham preached to nearly 215 million people in 185 countries. That's a lot of people. And coming up at 6 o'clock, you'll hear from one man who was profoundly impacted by Graham. Reporting live in Springboro, Ethan.